Someone in your life right now is feeding on you, not your enemy. You can see your enemies. You know where they stand. I'm talking about someone whose name is saved in your phone. Someone who sits at your dinner table. Someone you call your best friend, your partner, your family, and you have been bleeding for them in silence. Quietly, patiently, telling yourself this is what love looks like. This is what loyalty costs. 3 years ago, I watched a woman hand over her savings, her sleep, her career, and 5 years of her youth to a man who never once asked to be saved. She thought if she just loved him harder, sacrificed a little more, stayed a little longer, he would change. He didn't. When she had nothing left to give, he didn't even look back. That woman isn't weak. She was conditioned, programmed to believe that her worth was measured by how much she could endure for others. Maybe you recognize that story. Maybe you are living it right now. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote something that civilized society has tried to bury for 5 centuries. He said that a man who insists on being good in all things will come to ruin among so many who are not good. Not everyone wants to be saved. Some people want an anchor, and if you offer them your hand, they will not climb out. They will pull you under and use your body to stay afloat while you drown. Today, I am going to show you 6 types of people you must stop trying to save. One of them is in your life right now. Drop this in the comments before we start. Before we name them, we need to answer the real question. Why do you do it? Why do you keep running into the burning building when the person inside lit the match themselves? The easy answer is that you are kind, that you care, that you are a good person. But Machiavelli would not accept that answer. He would look at you with cold eyes and tell you something harder to hear. You are not saving them because you are good. You are saving them because somewhere inside you there is a wound that was never stitched closed. A wound that tells you your value depends on how useful you are to the people around you. Psychologists call this the fixer pattern. I call it the fixer wound. The people who spend their lives rescuing others are almost never doing it from a place of pure strength. They are doing it from a place of unfinished pain. Maybe you grew up in a house full of chaos and learned early that love meant managing everyone else's storms. Maybe you watched someone you loved destroy themselves and you could not stop it. So now, without realizing it, you keep finding broken people to fix. Because fixing them feels like finally getting it right. Like going back and winning the fight you lost as a child. You are not saving them. You are trying to save a younger version of yourself. And here is where it gets darker. Most people who carry the fixer wound do not recognize it as a wound at all. They call it empathy. They call it loyalty. They wear it like a badge of honor because society told them that suffering for others is a virtue, that endurance is nobility, that if you just hold on long enough, love will eventually be enough to change someone. It will not. Love is not a renovation tool. You cannot love a person into becoming who you need them to be. And the moment you try, you have stopped loving them. You have started a project, and they are the unwilling material. Machiavelli understood what he called therapeutic darkness. Sometimes the most powerful act of love is to step back, to let the rain fall, to let someone hit the ground, because the ground is the only place where the illusion finally breaks. The ground is the only place where a person is forced to either stand up or accept that they chose to stay down. When you rescue someone from the consequences of their own choices, you are not helping them. You are stealing their lesson. You are interrupting the only teacher powerful enough to reach them. Reality. Reality does not argue. It does not accept excuses. It simply delivers consequences. And consequences are the only language some people will ever understand. Your energy is not infinite. Your time is not infinite. Your patience is not infinite. When you pour everything into a person who cannot be filled, you are not noble. You are destroying your own future to fund someone else's refusal to grow. So who are they? Let's look them in the eye, one by one. 1. The one who burns their own house down then screams for help. You know this person immediately. Every single time you speak to them, there is a new disaster. Last week, it was the job. This week, it is the landlord. Next week, it will be the car, the relationship, the bank account, the health scare, the friend who betrayed them. It never stops. There is no season of calm. There is no period where things are simply okay. At first, your heart breaks for them. You think, how can one person carry this much misfortune? How can life be this relentless toward one human being? So you step in. You lend money. You make calls on their behalf. You connect them with people you know, opportunities you have spent years building. You give your time, your advice, your personal credibility. And for a brief window, maybe 2 weeks, things seem calm. You feel like it worked. Like maybe this time was different. Then the chaos returns. The job you found for them, they lost it because the manager was targeting them specifically. The money you lent them, gone, swallowed by another emergency that appeared from nowhere. The advice you gave, irrelevant because this situation is completely different and you do not understand what they are dealing with. Listen very carefully. Bad luck is not random for this person. It is the product of choices they keep making quietly beneath the surface. Impulsive decisions, ignored warnings, burned bridges they never bothered to mention. An inability to think one step ahead of the moment they are standing in. But here is the pattern that never changes. It is never their fault. It is the world, always the boss, the ex, the government, the economy, the timing, the people around them who failed to show up. They are permanently cast as the innocent victim of a story they are secretly writing themselves every single day. Here is what Machiavelli observed, that most people walk right past. Some people are not victims of fortune. They are addicted to the chaos they create, because chaos does something for them that stability never could. Chaos brings attention. When everything is burning, people show up, people call, people care, people invest their energy and worry and resources. Chaos also removes responsibility. If the house is always on fire, you never have to sit down and answer the harder question. Why do I keep holding the match? If you are always the victim of catastrophe, you never have to become the architect of something real. And here is the piece that will stay with you. When you keep shielding this person from the cold, you become the primary reason they never learn to build shelter. You are the variable that removes the consequence. And without consequence, there is no reason to change a single thing. Their chaos is also contagious in ways you do not immediately feel. I have seen intelligent, focused, disciplined people slowly lose their savings, their mental clarity, their professional reputation, because they tied themselves to someone who was addicted to instability. The physics of this are brutal, and they do not adjust for good intentions. When you attach yourself to chaos long enough, the chaos begins to make decisions in your life too. You start making reactive choices. You start managing emergencies that are not yours. You start measuring your stability by someone else's disorder. Machiavelli warned, to associate with the unlucky is to invite misfortune into your own house, not through superstition, through the slow erosion of the judgment you need to protect yourself. Ask yourself one honest question about this person. In the last 12 months, have they taken any genuine responsibility for any pattern in their life? Not a surface apology before the next disaster. Not a moment of guilt that evaporated by the following week. Real, structural, behavioral change that you can point to and name. If the answer is no, then you are not their lifeline. You are their alibi. You are the thing they hold up to themselves and to the world that says, "See, I am trying. Someone still believes in me." While they keep lighting matches, step back. Let the rain fall on them. Let them get cold. Let them sit in what they have built without your umbrella over their head. You cannot want a different life for someone more than they want it for themselves. The moment you want it more, you have taken something away from them that only hardship can give back. Drop this in the comments right now. Write, "I am not their shelter." 2. The one who takes more the more you give. This one feels different from the first. Because this one starts with gratitude. The first time you help them, the response is overwhelming. Thank you. I do not know what I would have done without you. You genuinely saved me. You feel it. That warmth of being needed, of mattering, of being the person someone turned to when everything was falling apart. The hook is set. You just cannot see it yet because the feeling is too good. The second time they ask with slightly less hesitation. The urgency is still there, but the gratitude has a shorter shelf life. You help again. They say thank you, but it is briefer. Less eye contact. The warmth in the words has thinned noticeably. The third time, they do not ask. They assume. And if you hesitate even for a moment, something shifts in their energy immediately. They become cold. A comment drops with precision. I thought you were my friend. I thought I could count on you. I guess I was wrong about you. And there it is. What started as gratitude has become an invoice. Your kindness is no longer something they received. It is something they are owed, and the balance on that invoice grows every time you make a payment. Machiavelli wrote that men quickly abandon those who have given them everything once their interests change direction. The ungrateful do not experience generosity as a gift. They experience it as confirmation of what they deserve. And the moment you stop delivering, you become the one who failed them. But there is a deeper psychology beneath this that almost no one speaks about directly. Dependence breeds contempt. This is not a moral observation. It is a fundamental human reality. When a person depends on someone else consistently for their survival, their comfort, their financial security, something begins to grow beneath the surface of the relationship. Something quiet and corrosive. Your generosity becomes a mirror. Every time you show up with resources they do not have, you reflect back to them their own inability to generate those resources for themselves. Your strength illuminates their helplessness. Your consistency exposes their instability. And human beings, at a very deep level, do not respond well to mirrors that show them what they hate about themselves. So they begin to resent you. Not always consciously, not with full awareness or deliberate intention. But the resentment grows regardless. They take your money and speak about you differently in rooms you are not in. They accept your help and quietly reframe the narrative so that your assistance becomes proof of their worthiness, rather than evidence of your sacrifice. They consume your resources and begin to believe they deserve more, that you owe them more, that you are actually holding back. Have you ever noticed that the people you have helped the most are often the ones who have the fewest generous things to say about you when you are not present? That is not coincidence. That is this dynamic reaching its natural conclusion. Machiavelli had one test for identifying this person early. One test only. Refuse a small request, something minor and easy, a thing that costs you almost nothing. Then watch the reaction with complete attention. A person with genuine character accepts the boundary. They may be briefly disappointed, but they adjust and move on. They understand on some fundamental level that your resources belong to you and not to them. The bottomless pit reacts with something disproportionate to the size of the refusal. Anger that makes no sense given the smallness of the ask. A cold silence that punishes you for the boundary. Guilt delivered with surgical precision, designed to make you feel responsible for their discomfort. If you see that reaction, you have your answer. The answer you probably suspected before you even ran the test. You cannot fill a void that lives inside someone's character from the outside. No amount of money, time, sacrifice, or loyalty will ever reach the actual problem, because the emptiness is not a resource problem. It is not a circumstance problem. It is a problem that lives so deep inside them that only they can choose to address it, and they have not chosen to. Write this in the comments. My generosity is earned, not owed. 3. Your closest friend is holding a knife behind their smile. The first, two types drain you through chaos or entitlement. This third one operates with far more sophistication, far more patience, far more danger. This is malice dressed in the language of love, and what makes it so devastatingly effective is that this person is not a stranger. This is not someone you distrust on sight. This is the person who was there before you became anything. The one who knew you when you had nothing, when you were uncertain, when the future was completely unclear. They laughed with you in the hard years. They have history with you, real history. But something shifted. You began to move. Your life started to look different from the life they are still living. And they stayed exactly where both of you used to stand. Here is the truth they will never say out loud to you or to themselves. Your progress is experienced by them as a personal accusation. Not your fault, not their fault in any simple sense. But every step you take forward is a reflection of the steps they have not taken. You have become a mirror they cannot escape, and the image in that mirror is one they have been running from. So they do not attack you directly. Open attacks are too visible, too risky, too easy to defend against. What they carry is a dagger, and it moves exclusively in the language of care. Listen carefully to how this person speaks when you share something good. You landed the promotion. The response comes quickly. That is amazing. But honestly, those hours are going to destroy you eventually. I am just worried about your well-being. You started something new and it is gaining momentum. Good for you. Just be careful. You know how you get when something does not work out the way you expected. I do not want to see you go through that again. You met someone who genuinely excites you. That is great. I hope this one is different. I really do. Hear what is underneath every single one of those sentences. There is a small puncture in each one. Not enough to stop you in your tracks, just enough to introduce doubt that was not there before they spoke. Just enough to make you second-guess something you felt certain about 5 minutes earlier. This is what Machiavelli identified as the most dangerous form of influence in any court or circle. Not the open enemy, the whisper. Because an open attack you can meet directly. You know where it is coming from. You can defend, respond, walk away. The whisper you carry home with you. It sits in your thoughts at 2 in the morning. It makes you hesitate before you take the next step. It does the damage slowly, over months and years, in such small increments that you never identify the source of the erosion. They are not trying to destroy your plan in one move. They are trying to slowly disconnect you from your belief in it, because a plan you no longer believe in collapses on its own. They never have to lift a finger against it directly. And if you try to bring them with you, if you reach back and try to pull them up alongside you, because the loyalty you feel is real and the history is real, they will find ways to disrupt the ascent. A confidence shared at exactly the wrong moment. A piece of information passed to the wrong person. Advice given that sounds reasonable but steers you precisely away from where you need to go. Stop right here for a moment. Whose face appeared in your mind while you were reading this? You already had the name before I finished describing them. You have had the name for longer than you want to admit. The question was never who they are. The question is why you keep bringing them with you. Machiavelli's guidance on this is cold and unambiguous. Silence is the primary defense against the envious. Not confrontation. Confrontation gives them information about how much they are affecting you. Not an emotional conversation. That gives them access to your uncertainty. Silence and concealment. Do not share your next move with someone who has a quiet interest in seeing it fail. Do not celebrate your victories in the presence of someone who experiences your success as their failure. Do not give the architecture of your plans to someone who is standing just behind you, holding something you cannot see. Around them, be unremarkable, be stuck, be ordinary. Let them believe you are struggling while you are actually building. Feed them the version of your life that satisfies their need to feel level with you. And keep everything real for the people who actually want you to win. You cannot rescue someone from envy. It is not an external condition. It lives inside them and it burns through everything they touch. The only thing you can do is remove yourself as the fuel. Write this in the comments. I protect my light from people who live in the dark. 4. the one who uses pain as a prison to hold you. This one does not come at you with arrogance or obvious aggression. They do not arrive with demands. They do not show you the bars of the cage they are building. They come on their knees, with tears, with fragility, with a vulnerability so complete that every instinct in you moves toward them like a reflex you cannot override. And that reflex, that beautiful, humane, deeply human impulse to move toward someone in pain, is exactly what they are depending on. Machiavelli understood something about power that most people spend their entire lives missing. Power does not always announce itself with force. Some of the most absolute power in human relationships is held by the person who appears to have none. Because the appearance of total helplessness, when wielded with skill, creates an obligation in the people around them that is almost impossible to refuse without feeling like a monster. There is a critical difference that you need to be able to see clearly. There are genuine victims in this world, people struck by circumstances they never chose, people carrying wounds they did not cause and did not deserve. People who are fighting toward their own recovery, even when the path is brutal and slow. I am not talking about those people, not even slightly. I am talking about the person who has discovered, consciously or otherwise, that their suffering functions as a key, that it unlocks things that strength and effort never could. Attention, resources, exemption from accountability, a permanent position at the center of someone else's concern. The genuine victim wants the exit. They are moving toward it even when it is painful. The person I am describing has made the wound their home. They have decorated it. They return to it. They show it to you repeatedly because it is the most powerful thing they possess. I cannot do that because of what I have been through. You are making everything worse by asking anything of me. The world is simply too much for someone who has suffered the way I have, and every time you respond to this with rescue, you are unknowingly reinforcing the entire structure. You offer a ladder. Their arms are too exhausted. You extend a rope. It causes them pain to hold. You position yourself beneath them to lift. They go completely, totally limp. Each time this happens, you are teaching them something critical. You are teaching them that fragility is a currency with purchasing power. That helplessness is a valid and effective way to get needs met. That the performance of suffering reliably produces the resources that effort and responsibility do not. And you are the one who keeps validating the exchange rate. Here is where the story makes its sharpest turn. The moment you stop, the moment exhaustion finally overtakes your commitment, and you say, "I cannot do this anymore," the person who was too fragile to hold a rope discovers a remarkable reservoir of energy and aggression. They will call you heartless. They will describe your exhaustion as abandonment. They will tell anyone willing to listen that you turned your back on them at the moment they needed you most. They will rewrite the entire history of the dynamic so that your collapse becomes the proof of your cruelty. They need a villain. Every story of victimhood requires one. And by spending months or years auditioning for the role of their hero, you have already been measured and fitted for the villain costume you will wear the moment you can no longer perform. The philosopher Nietzsche observed that suffering can be either a passage or a residence. Most people move through pain. Some people move into it and decide to stay, and they begin to need others to acknowledge the residence, to visit it, to treat it as the defining and permanent address of who they are. You cannot pull someone out of a home they have chosen. You can only exhaust yourself trying. Real compassion is not the same as endless accommodation. Real care is not the same as removing every consequence. Sometimes the most genuinely loving response available to you is a closed door, delivered without cruelty and without apology. Because when the theater empties, when the audience that was sustaining the performance disappears, the actor eventually has to walk off the stage. Let the theater go dark. What remains when the performance ends is either the beginning of real change or the confirmation that they were never going to change regardless of what you gave. Either way, you have your answer and your life back. Write this in the comments. Compassion without limits is not love. It is surrender. 5. The person you're trying to save no longer exists. This is the type that will cost you the most to sit with, not because of anything cruel or manipulative or deliberately harmful, but because what defines this type is something that was once completely real. You loved a version of this person, genuinely, not performatively, not out of habit or obligation or fear of being alone. You actually loved who they were. You saw something in them that was worth seeing, something that made you feel like proximity to them made you more alive. And for a time, that version of them was present and real and showed up in the ways that mattered. Then, gradually, then completely, that person began to disappear. It did not happen overnight. These things never do. It happened in the slow, quiet way that erosion happens. You do not notice it in any single moment. You only notice it when you look back over the full distance and realize how far from the beginning you have traveled. What is standing in front of you now wears their face, carries their voice, uses the shared memories of who you were together when it needs access to something in you, when it needs your loyalty or your patience or your resources. But it does not make their choices. It does not carry their values forward into its actions. It does not move in the direction they once said they were heading with such certainty and warmth. You are not trying to save this person. You are trying to resurrect someone who has already gone. You are holding a vigil for someone who left without a funeral, and you are burning your present life, your actual living years, in service of a grief you have not allowed yourself to name. The sunk cost holds you here. You have invested too much, waited through too many false returns, rebuilt hope too many times, to accept that the version you were promised is not coming back. Walking away would mean accepting that the years spent believing, the sacrifices made in service of the potential you saw, were spent on someone who was already leaving long before you recognized it. So you stay. You try one more approach. You find new angles toward the same person who has shown you, repeatedly and consistently, that the direction of their life is not toward what you need from them. But Machiavelli never softened this particular truth for anyone. The world exists only in the present, not in the memory of who a person once was, not in the projection of who they might yet become if conditions align in exactly the right way. In the present, as they are, right now, and in the present, who is this person? Strip away the history, remove the investment, set aside the potential you once genuinely saw. Look only at what they are bringing into the current chapter of your life. What is the honest answer? Machiavelli had no patience for alliance built on nostalgia. When a political partner, an advisor, a trusted friend became a liability in the present, he did not pause to mourn who they had been in the past. Because the past version of a person cannot protect you today, cannot support you today, cannot show up for you today. Only the present version has any real capacity to do those things. And if the present version is a stranger carrying a familiar face, then you are not in a relationship with a person. You are haunting a house that has already been emptied and locked. There is one question I want you to carry with you out of this section. If you met this person today, for the very first time, with no history between you, no shared memories to color your perception, no investment already made that creates pressure to justify itself, knowing only what you can observe about who they are right now in this season of their life, would you choose them? Not who they used to be, not who they promised to become, who they actually are today. Take your time with that question. Let it settle into the honest part of you rather than the part that is still managing grief. If the answer is no, then what you are calling loyalty is actually something else. It is a refusal to grieve, and the refusal to grieve is quietly costing you the only life you have. Letting go of who someone used to be is not a betrayal of the love you had. It is the final, honest act of respect for both of you. See people as they are, not as they were, not as you need them to become. As they are. Write this in the comments. I live in the present, not in who they used to be. 6. Some people cannot change. Stop waiting for it. There is an old story you already know. A scorpion stands at the edge of a wide river. It cannot swim. It looks at a frog sitting nearby and asks to be carried across. The frog refuses immediately. "You will sting me and I will die." The scorpion responds with logic that sounds undeniable. "Why would I do that? If I sting you while we are crossing, we both drown. It is not in my interest to harm you. Think about it clearly." The frog considers this. The argument is sound. The logic holds together. The scorpion is right that harming the frog would harm them both. So the frog agrees. It lets the scorpion climb onto its back and begins to cross. Halfway across the river, in the deepest part of the water, when neither of them can turn back, the scorpion stings. As they both begin to sink, as the water rises around them and the outcome becomes inevitable, the frog asks the only question that remains: why? And the scorpion says, "Because it is my nature." You already know this story. You know it because you have lived it. You have been the frog. You heard the argument and the logic was sound, and you made the decision that appeared rational in the moment, and you felt the sting in the deepest water at the worst possible time, when everything was already too far along to undo. And then you forgave them because they cried, because the apology was genuine in the moment it was delivered, because they promised with real feeling that it would never happen again, because you could see in their eyes that they meant it, in that specific moment, completely. But the moment passed, and then it happened again. Not once, not twice, more times than you want to put an exact number on. Think about this carefully because it matters. Why do you take them back after the 5th time? After the 8th? After the incident you told yourself was absolutely the last? It is not because you are naive. You are not naive. You see exactly what the pattern is. You can describe it in detail to anyone who asks. You take them back because you are trying to resolve something inside yourself that has nothing to do with them. You are trying to become the person who was powerful enough to reach them. The exception. The one whose love was sufficient to unlock a different version of who they are. The proof that patience and loyalty and belief in someone can actually change the fundamental direction of a human being. You are not in a relationship with them anymore. You are in a competition with the version of yourself that got hurt the first time. And you keep going back because leaving means accepting that you lost that competition. Machiavelli was direct to the point of brutality on this. Behavior is a pattern. Character is a pattern. The most reliable indicator of what a person will do in the next chapter of their life is what they have already done across the full length of the story so far. Not what they said while the emotion of nearly losing you was fresh. Not the promises made in the specific gravity of a moment where consequences briefly felt real. What they actually did, consistently, across time, when the promises had faded and life had returned to its ordinary rhythm. When you forgive someone who has not changed anything, you are not extending mercy. You are sending a clear message. The message is that this behavior has no permanent cost, that it can be repeated, that there will be pain and there will be an apology, and things will eventually return to the way they were before. The pattern is safe to continue. And so it continues, not because they are wholly evil, not because they feel nothing for you, but because you have demonstrated through your repeated return that the consequences are temporary and manageable. Every time you go back, you leave a fragment of your self-respect behind, and that erosion accumulates. You feel it even if you cannot name it, and they feel it too, even if they never articulate it. You cannot fully respect someone who does not protect themselves. That is not a judgment. It is simply a feature of how human respect operates. The cut, when it comes, must be complete, not a slow withdrawal, not maintaining a reduced version of contact that still gives them access to you. Not still friends, just different now. That is not a boundary. That is a perimeter with a gate they still know the code to. Complete. Final. Without a conversation that gives them one more opportunity to deploy the apology they have already used many times before. It will feel like removing a part of your own body. I will not pretend otherwise. There is a real grief to this that will arrive in waves and surprise you with its weight, even when you thought you were past it. But understand what you are actually removing, not something healthy, not something that was serving your life, something that had already gone toxic far beneath the surface, something that had already spread past the original wound and was moving slowly and certainly toward the center of everything you are. Machiavelli said, "Believe what a person shows you the very first time they reveal their nature. Everything that comes after that is just you choosing what to do with what you already know. You already know. You have known for longer than you want to admit." Write this in the comments. I believe people the first time they show me who they are. Stay here with me for a moment. Before we close this out, I need you to actually stop. Not metaphorically, actually stop and stay with what has been moving through you while you have been here. I know what happened as you moved through each type. I know the names that surfaced without being called, the specific faces, the precise memories that arrived unbidden when I described each pattern, the moments you recognized with a sharpness that surprised you even though some part of you already knew. And I know the voice that has been rumming underneath all of it the entire time. The voice that says, "But my situation is different, but they need me specifically, but I am the only one who truly understands them. But this time will be different." I need you to hear something about that voice. That is not your conscience. Your conscience would not keep you in something that is consuming you. That is your ego. The part of you that cannot accept what you already know because accepting it would require you to grieve something real, to release something you invested in, to walk away from a story you have been telling yourself for a very long time about who you are and what your love is capable of. You are not God. You cannot rewrite human nature with patience or sacrifice, or the purity of your intentions. You are a human being with one life and a finite amount of it remaining. The question is not whether they need saving. The real question, the one underneath everything, is this: what is it inside you that keeps opening the door? The most dangerous enemy is standing in your mirror. Here is what changes when you finally stop. You reclaim your energy. Your finances begin to stabilize. Your mind gets quieter in a way you had forgotten was possible. The anxiety you had normalized, that constant low hum of carrying other people's lives on top of your own, begins to dissolve. Your body starts to rest in a way it has not rested in years. But then something harder arrives. When the chaos is gone, when the drama is no longer filling the room, when there is no one left to rescue, you are left standing alone in front of a mirror. And in that mirror, for the first time in a long time, you have to look at yourself without distraction. This is where Machiavelli's lesson reaches its sharpest and most personal point. Every person on this list that you kept returning to, they were not random arrivals in your life. The storm you kept running into had your footprints in the approach. The chaos that magnetized you reflected something unresolved in your own interior. The void you kept trying to fill mirrored an emptiness you once felt and never fully addressed. The scorpion. You knew what it was before it ever climbed onto your back. You felt the nature of it, and you chose it anyway, because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. This is not a judgment. This is the most human thing in the world. This is the thing nobody puts in the self-help books because it is too uncomfortable to sit with. But now you have seen it clearly, and you cannot unknow what you now know. Stop asking who deserves to be saved. Start asking the harder question. Who taught you that you did not? Because the moment you turn the same ruthless clarity you have been directing outward and aim it honestly at yourself, everything changes. Not just who you choose to let close, but what you understand yourself to be worth. That is the real lesson Machiavelli was pointing toward all along. Drop this in the comments. I save myself first. Like this if something opened in you while you were here. Share it with the person in your life who needs to hear it before it costs them any more than it already has. and subscribe, because the next video goes somewhere even darker and even more necessary. The most powerful decision you will ever make is the one where you stop destroying yourself for people who were never going to change. That decision is available to you right now.